A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. We've been running our website using Squarespace for over 5 years now and couldn't be happier with the results. One of my favorite memories is really a string of moments all leading to a rock. After getting married in December of 2016 in New York, Dana and I flew back to Paris to pick up our van Odie. From there, we drove a couple thousand kilometers to southern Spain, where we'd found a cottage to rent while working on the van build. And from that mountainside, when the weather was really clear, we could see this looming outcropping in the distance. It turns out the mountain we were looking at is a 426-meter monolithic limestone promontory called the Rock of Gibraltar. With the van build completed, we decided that after staring out at that rock for almost half a year, we might as well drive over and take a closer look. I don't really know how to describe Gibraltar except to say that it's kind of a strange place. The views overlooking the ocean are stunning, but everything feels a little disorienting. Almost like you're not really sure where you are or what year it is. There's also this small population of wild monkeys that live in the Gibraltar Nature Reserve. I'll never forget the moment we made it to the top of the Rock of Gibraltar. I put my big camera bag down on the ground to take a quick break and walk over to the ledge to take some photos of the view. And within seconds, a group of monkeys has opened the top zipper on the bag, and one of them is holding both of our passports in his little hands. And without hesitation, Dana steps forward to get them back. The monkey hisses at her, fangs out. The two of them stare each other down for what feels like minutes. Dana raises her arms over her head, howls, and the monkeys run off, leaving the passports behind. And I look into Dana's eyes as she picks the passports off the ground and realize just how lucky I am to have found someone as fierce as her. It was one of the best days in the van so far. It's the summer of 2018. We've spent over a month exploring the beautiful city of Lisbon, and the two of us are starting to find our rhythm together as travelers. Lisbon might just be the most photogenic city on Earth, but when I look back at this period of time, I try not to forget how challenging it was. The heat inside our van in that crowded parking lot where we tried to fall asleep each night was almost unbearable. And of every public restroom I've ever visited in my 31 years on this earth, the one at the ferry terminal next to our parking spot was hands down the worst. But along with these little challenges came some unforgettable life experiences. I'll never forget the feeling of cool mist outside all the restaurants, or your laughter from the backseat of the tuk-tuk. The roll of film you shot with Beatrice is probably my favorite roll of all time. So many of the people we met in that city are still good friends to this day. But of all those moments, there's this one that stands out from the rest. We've just spent the day outside of Lisbon filming an interview with Beatrice and getting to know the town she grew up in. And as the sun begins to set, her mom kindly offers to drive the three of us back into the city. The two of them are sitting in the front seats chatting away in Portuguese, and the two of us are in the back seats. I look over at you, and I can tell that you're thinking exactly the same thing as me. How did we get here, into this car, into this family moment? How is this our life? There's this tiny, rugged island called Elafonisos in the south of Greece. It takes about 10 minutes by ferry to get there. If our van life experience in Europe has a peak, this could well be it. The pace of life on that island, the empty roads and beaches, that construction site on the mountainside where we do our morning workouts, but above all, the ocean. The water in Elafonisos is so clear it's hard to believe. like a glass door you realize is closed right before walking headfirst into it. We'd start the day with a swim. We'd swim after lunch. We'd swim at night under the light of the moon. The days on that island could get unbearably hot, so we installed mosquito netting on all of our windows and slept with the van doors wide open. Over the years, Dana has probably cut my hair at least a dozen times or so, but my favorite haircut of all is the one I got in that forest next to the beach. Sitting in that rickety camping chair, watching the curls fall to the ground. It's an important moment for me in our story because it's when I realized how much I enjoy a simple life with you. Cooking on the camping stove on the ground next to the van, exploring dead-end roads, the sound of the wind over the hill. I don't want a life that feels busy or crowded or rushed, and Elafonisos showed me that neither do you. There are few places on Earth more beautiful than the gravel roads that cut through the center of Iceland. From above, they look like giant snakes extending over the land. The further you get from the coast, the longer you get to drive without seeing another car, house, or structure of any kind. The land goes from green to brown to black, and then, all at once, it's white. I feel like as an actual experience, a road trip can get a little tedious, but as a memory, the long hours in the car blur together, and all you're left with is the excitement of the open road. The strongest recollection I have from this trip is wading into the middle of a river and then watching as Dana drives across. Even with a car as well built as Gregor, river crossings get your adrenaline pumping. There's always this teeny tiny chance you stall the car, the engine shuts down, water flows back through the exhaust, and you've flooded a pristine Mercedes engine. As a driver, your natural instinct once the car dips into the water is to get out of there as quickly as possible. But as we learned from our Icelandic friends along the way, the safest way to get across is actually slow and steady.
Let's go!
I can feel the excitement in the car as we drive to the airport to pick up our little puppy Freya. I've known Dana has wanted a puppy since the very first day I met her. She's probably been looking forward to this day for about 25 years or so. I also worry that dreaming about something for so long can be a little precarious because few experiences are capable of living up to so much anticipation. But what I love most about this memory is that Dana proved that the opposite is also true. That some things are even better than you imagined they would be. When it comes to the things that matter in life, I feel like the two of us are on exactly the same page. Waking up in the middle of the night to let Freya out, training session after training session after training session, the books, the preparation, the execution, showing up when you're needed, resting when you're not. The last 5 years have felt like the adventure of a lifetime, but I know the next 5 will be even bigger. A big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring this week's video. Dana and I aren't the most tech-savvy people on the internet, but running our site with Squarespace allows us to focus on the creative part of the website while leaving the nitty-gritty details to the professionals. We threw together this blog post of our favorite film photos from this video in only a couple minutes. If you'd like to start your own website or online store, head to squarespace.com/wildweroam for a free trial and 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain.